Welcome to Financial Discretion Advised. I'm Abrin Berkemeyer.
I'm Tyler Hafford. Let's cue the music.
All right, thanks for joining, everybody. We're going to be talking money tips and tricks today. We got a list of 10 items.
Yeah.
Number one.
Hey, what's going on, Abrin? I mean, we haven't seen each other. The last podcast, we're in two different places.
I know, I'm just trying to jump right into this.
You're just jumping right in. We'll get to the money tricks. People want to know what's going on with you.
Oh man, well the nice weather has been perfect for the new Jeep. Taking the top off, took the doors off for the first time, found out the mirrors are on the doors, so that was fun on the highway. Gotta keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
But no, it's a blast. How are you doing?
Nice.
You got a little rash?
Yeah. Anyone who lives in Maine's probably heard of the brown tail moth rash thing that's going on. I've fallen victim to it. So anyone watching us on YouTube, if it looks like I'm trying to rip my skin off, that's what's going on. Rather have the Jeep be my news instead of the rash thing. But
yeah, I assume I'll probably drive right through a cloud of brown tail moth at some point.
Yeah, and I stuck a few of them in your glove box. So
thank you, really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks.
I got some murder hornets in your glove box. So.
It could be worse. Thanks everyone for joining us. Like Abrin said, we're gonna do a podcast today on money tips and tricks. Just some, things that we think you can do to help improve just the day-to-day financial well-being of your situation.
Yeah.
So why don't you tip us off before we get going on this? I'll make another disclaimer at the end. Anyone who has questions about these types of things or are thinking, geez, I wish they would talk about this. Abrin and I are keeping a running list of questions coming in from clients and prospects and anyone we're really talking about. Would really encourage you to either put it on the comments below or find our emails and shoot us some questions. Hoping to do some question and answer type podcasts in the future. But Abrin, why don't we kick us off?
Sure. Yeah. Number one, first tip, pay yourself first.
Yeah, pay yourself first. This is a good one. And I think it's one of the most important ones. So I'm glad you made it number one. Pay yourself first is the idea of you get paid and a lot of people will start to pay the bills, right? They start paying, I owe this and on my credit card and all those things. And at the end, they'll say, whatever's left, I'll put into savings.
If there's anything left.
If there's anything left, it also creates bad behaviors because you get to the end of all that spending and you're like, geez, I really would love to go out for a nice meal. And you end up blowing whatever's going to go to savings. If you pay yourself first, if the first item that you pay off when you get paid is going to your savings, then tackling the bills, you are building a better behavior around setting money aside or investing it or doing those things that's right with your money, instead of the opposite of seeing what can be left at the end.
Yeah, I like it because it's like I earned this money. I've got goals that cost money to achieve.
Right.
Maybe like the more recent goal was the Jeep.
Yeah.
So, I paid myself first. I put the money aside out of my paycheck so that I could build up some savings for a down payment and all that.
Yep.
Then I got what I wanted.
Yeah. And
satisfying.
Yeah, frankly, I like it. We go to work, right, to make money. If you love your job, that's great. I know that we talk about, well, you never work a day in your life, you love your job. At the end of the day, we still like money and go to work so we can sustain ourselves and live and buy things that we like. To me, it only makes sense that the first person you pay is you. So I do think that's a great strategy. It's one that I think can really start to help you build behaviors around setting money aside.
Yeah. And tip number two, where you put that money. Really good practice is to do separate bank accounts for different purposes and kind of bucket things off.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. This actually tip helped me enormously when I started putting it into practice, where I like to use like an online high yield savings account. I know everyone listening to us has heard us talk about this on all the other podcasts of using some type of high yield savings over, a traditional savings. But functionally what it does for me, it allows me to do two things. One, it allows me to create like a new age envelope system where I just have different high yield savings accounts for goals that I have.
Yeah.
Buying Abrin's Jeep, was in there as one of them. The house and a new car and all those things. So it allows me to do that and bucket my money into different places. But it also separates my money from my checking account and it has about a day buffer between the two accounts. And it stops me from standing in line and making, irrational decisions around buying something or an impulse buy, because I know it's going to take me a day to move the extra money back. Where I used to have my checking account and my savings account linked where I could move money instantaneously between the two, which led me to making a ton of bad decisions while I'm standing in line. Like, yeah, why wouldn't I get an 85-inch TV over the 40-inch TV? So just separating it enough to help me behaviorally keep my money in savings and make, at least I had to sleep on a decision before I moved the money.
Right. Yeah. It's just that one little extra barrier that's almost non-existent barrier, but it just takes that one day where you pause and you think and you're like, okay, maybe not.
Yeah. It's when you have the devil and the angel sitting on your shoulder, it allows a little more time for the angel to just talk you through it before you actually pull the trigger.
And sometimes that angel talks you into buying it because maybe it ends up being a bigger priority than you thought it was going to be, and it ends up being more worth it. But at least you did that extra day of time. It wasn't as impulsive as it might have been. So
less buyer's remorse.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of takes us to number 3. If you've got these separate accounts, we talked about paying yourself first. We talked about bucketing off money so that you have a little bit of a barrier. One way that's a great way to add to those buckets is automated savings. It's a great little tip. You get paid, you know what date you're getting paid.
Yeah.
Money's going into that account. Let's automate that process to take money out and set it aside towards other goals, whether it's a cash savings account or investment account. Just to get it automated so that way you're in that routine basis and there's no, maybe you're paid bi-weekly and your next paycheck 2 weeks out. There's no having to go in and remember to move money over to an account.
Right.
Because maybe you forget
or you spend it.
You just see it and you're like, I have an idea this weekend.
Yeah. I truly believe one of the reasons why the 401ks in retirement plans have been so successful for folks is that it automates your contribution to those accounts right out of the paycheck. You never see it. You hear the old adage of you don't miss what you don't see. Automating your savings is doing the same thing. It's just taking it out of your behavioral decision making.
Right. Whether it's
doing it
out of your gross paycheck or out of the net money that hits your bank account. Both of those automated savings. Even the all like new regulations and things that and new laws that come out, they really do tend to favor setting up the automated savings. It's like it's gone from this thing where it's like you can elect to join the 401k to we're going to put you in the 401k unless you tell us not to, because they're incentivizing that automated savings because it's just generally accepted that going forward the best thing for you is to set up that automated savings rate and get invested. So
behaviorally I think we are prone to making rash decisions, impulse decisions, doing whatever we can with our money to remove us from doing that, saving us from ourselves. I think is important, and automating your savings I think is a really good way of doing that.
Definitely. And going to number 4, avoiding investment fads and kind of along the lines of with that routine investments going forward.
We certainly live in a really funny time in the investment world. As there's always been investment fads, right? Anything that is a get rich quick scheme,
tech bubble,
just any of these things that you can become a millionaire over the next, overnight kind of thing should raise a lot of red flags for you. But we also live in an age where retail investing has been expanded to almost everyone at almost no commissions or fees to get into. So it allows everyone to invest, which I think is really good. But what it's done is created a new culture in investing where enough retail investors can push a stock or a position in directions that maybe that stock's not worth, or there's different reasons behind the traditional reasons to invest in the stock. By jumping onto those, we hear it in the news. I know we've talked about it a little bit like this because GameStop was a big one, and AMC, and these names are coming out where people are making a ton of money. For every GameStop, there's thousands of times that didn't work, right?
Oh yeah,
And
there's
people have
always the,
lost life savings
yeah,
trying to
the
jump
price
into
went
those.
up and then the price came down,
Yeah.
and somebody was holding the bag when the price came down.
Yes.
And those are the people that lost the money. For everybody that tells you of all the times, oh, they made 100K on GameStop or Bitcoin, there's just as many stories of the people that lost the same amount of money. Or
Yep. So I think your access to the market is more accessible today than it's ever been in the history of investing. I think with that comes a responsibility for those people investing to know what they're investing in, understand the risks they're taking. What is an investment versus what's a gamble? A lot of these fads tend to be gambles, and like we said, people have destroyed their lives trying to jump on a get rich quick scheme. An investment is not to make you a millionaire overnight. It is to set a goal, a long-term goal or a short-term goal, invest towards that goal, and let your money kind of
still work for you
and get there when you need to. It's not to the moon tomorrow.
So you might not be hitting a million overnight, but there are some ways that we can take some free money than all those stories of people that seem to make the big bucks overnight with those investment fads. There's other routine ways to take free money, even though those investment fads can sound like free money. So when there's money on the table, we always take it. That's number 5. That could be through a couple of different ways. Could be through your retirement plan through work. You might have a 401k match. Want to make sure that you're always maximizing that match. So if your employer plan matches you 100% up to 5%, you should put in 5% of your salary and get the full match. And that way you're getting more of your employer dollars into that plan. You're saving more over time. Other ways that you can take some free money is in Maine, if you have kids and you want to save for their college,
it's a good one.
You could use the Next Gen 529 program. Maine offers a series of grants. Right now it's 30% on the first $1,000 you contribute to the college account. They will match that, so that's up to $300 a year. Yeah,
it's free money. It's nice. I think if you set up automatic contributions, they give you some kickback. There's other ways you can get some free money, but you're right, especially on the retirement accounts at work. If they're giving you a match and you are not taking advantage of that, essentially they are saying that we're going to pay you X amount of money, and you're saying, well, why don't you keep 4% of it? I don't want it. No one would ever do that in the discussion, right? No one takes a look at the offer they make you and you say, well, that looks a little too high. Why don't you shave 4% off of that? It's essentially what you're doing if you're not going out and getting your match. Always try to find a way to get to the match and get the full amount that they're offering you. Like Abrin said, it's free money. It's money that you leave on the table every time you don't do it. So go get it. And on the 529s, again, if you're going to get some free money, why, I would try to do the best I can to get that, because a 30% match on 1,000 doesn't matter what's going in the market. That's a pretty good return for what they're going to give you. So $300 is, may not sound like a huge deal, but it's all that counts, right? All that makes a difference.
Over 18 years.
Yeah.
Add some interest on that.
Yeah. Do the math.
Nah. Good. Today's technically my Friday. All right, number 6, avoid the daily latte.
Jeez.
And this is such a quality of life thing.
Yeah, it is. But it is a great way to save money.
It really is. If you start looking at adding it up, this one we did do the math on. Only you did, Tyler. But what was it? You did $5 a day for.
If you do $5 a day for 5 days a week for the year, it looks like you'd save around $1,300 in doing lattes. If you made it at home for a fraction of the cost, you'd save quite a bit of money there.
What's the Folgers chime?
Yeah. We're looking for advertisers. Yeah. So, it's difficult. I know it's part of everyone's routine. You stop, you get your coffee, you go to work. It's the lifeblood. Believe me, I drink a ton of coffee. Luckily, Penobscot Financial Advisors puts it in the offices. Actually, now that we come back to the office, they may reverse that since I drink so much.
Right, maybe we should get a latte machine. Now. Make sure we push 'em for that.
Craig and Jim. But yeah, skipping that little luxury can make a big difference on savings over the year. I mean, $1,300 it's real money. And if you think about is stopping to get that one drink worth $1,300 for the year,
or maybe you just cut it back to half.
Cut it back to half,
2 or
make it
3
at
days a
home.
week,
Yeah.
Anything like that.
Yep. But can be instant savings right in your pocket.
Yeah.
So.
And it can really add up by the end of the year. That's for sure.
Yep.
Speaking of adding things up, another great tip. Number
Hitting
7.
those transitions today, AB.
Hey, you know what? I really try. Really good way to, a really good trick and tip is to start a budget. I mean, it's the dreaded word.
I know.
But it's lucky number 7 today.
Yeah.
The way I like to explain it to clients is, or just anybody really, is like we said, we want to pay ourselves first. You got your money coming through the door. Let's go find out where we're putting the money out the door.
Yeah.
Like make sure we got our money set aside towards savings. Maybe if you are doing the $5 a day on the latte and you didn't know it added up to $1,300 a year because you didn't do the budget.
Right.
If you did the budget, you're going to find out that you're spending this money on this area, that area, and maybe you're okay with that because you're like, this is a quality of life thing. I really enjoy doing this. This is where I want to spend my money. That's totally fine. But you might go through the budget and be like, wow, I bought a pair of jeans every day for a week at $40.
Yeah.
And I spent $10,000 this year on jeans.
Yep.
It's like, okay, maybe I can cut that back and stop buying jeans, which would be,
this is the most, keep buying jeans. That's
you might need other help if you buy a pair of jeans.
This is probably the most boring but most beneficial thing you can do. Is sit down and do the budget. And it can seem daunting if you've never done it. But knowing where your money is going, it makes all the difference because it allows you to make the changes, right? I know if you're going on like a weight loss program, you have to get on the scale and see where you are right now before you can make adjustments. And the budget is exactly like that. You got to know where your money's going. You can make those types of decisions where you're like, geez, I can't believe I spent $1,300 on lattes. They weren't even that good. It was just something I did every morning. Starting with the budget and identifying those places where you can save some money. Like I said, it's going to be boring, can seem daunting. I think it is one of the most beneficial things people can do.
Especially like in the day and age of subscription services. It's like, what did I sign up 10 years ago or 5 years ago that I've continued to pay and not even using anymore? It's like, those things add up too.
They do. And it seems, I know, like you cut your cable and you get one of them and you're like, geez, I am saving a ton of money. And then 3 or 4 years down the road, you are subscribed to every streaming service imaginable. And you're now paying more than you were for the cable package that you felt good about getting rid of. But you got to be tracking it, paying attention to it.
I'm gonna add a 7.5 here before we move on to number 8.
You're driving the ship.
You get a +1 today. With managing subscriptions, so one way you can kind of save some money is mooching. You got family members. Maybe you get the Netflix and everybody uses it. Maybe your brother-in-law gets the Hulu.
I see a lawsuit coming towards us.
It's a family plan, okay? It's a family plan.
I would encourage you, if there is some type of sharing options on those streaming platforms, to take advantage of that, where maybe
or like a phone, the phones have the family plans. That could be a great way to save some money.
That is
maybe tag team up with some of your family members. And do that.
Bundling can save you money, and if you can find a way to do it, take advantage of it.
So that's 7.5. We'll move on to number 8. If you're got a good budget and you feel like you spend your money where you want to and save your money where you want to, one really good way that you can actually make some extra money or some points would be a credit card reward system, as long as you're good and responsible about paying it off.
Yeah, that's the key, I think, is if you are okay with using credit cards and you trust yourself not to kind of spend more than you can be an awesome way to, like you said, get points back, cash back, airline miles. There's tons of cards out there that will give you benefits in all of those different places. Additionally, you get some better identity theft protection if you're using a credit card versus a debit card. So it can be a good way to put your expenses on just got to stay within your means.
Yeah.
The credit card is got the limit on there where you can blow through it. And some people do and kind of can get in trouble with it. So I think knowing yourself is important for that. But a good tip. And if you can handle it, might as well go get some points for it.
Yeah. On the upside, it's almost like free money again.
Yeah.
Because it's like the way I think about it, I'm at the grocery store. I have to eat food, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm spending my money here anyway.
I'm gonna be spending my money here. So
Yeah.
I like look at my debit card, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna spend this money anyway because I have to.
Yeah.
So I pull out the credit card and just pay that off at the end of the month and
Yep.
get my 2% rewards, and that adds up throughout the year. You know,
Yeah.
if I just spend $10,000 on my daily living and I get 2% back,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be making a couple $100.
I like free money.
I like free money too.
0% tax rate and free money, I think, are my two favorite things. If you can get those, you're in good shape.
All right, let's go to number 9. Shop around. Shop around.
I saw that coming a mile away. Yeah, shopping around for anything I think is important.
Yeah.
The way we came up with this one, we were talking about, shopping things like your insurance, like car insurance or home insurance. Maybe you bought a few years back, but haven't really looked at and was a good deal then, might not be now. I know one strategy I use on the insurance side is I use an insurance broker who shops this for me.
Yeah. Outsourcing.
Yeah, well, I also like it because if I have a claim or something, I just call him and he deals with it. I don't have to call insurance companies, so that's kind of nice. But it allows me to shop insurance every year without having to take the time to go on and actually shop it myself.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth going in and looking at things that you're paying for right now and just making sure you're still getting the best deal.
Right. Yeah.
That nothing's changed on you.
We'll go back to the Jeep because I love talking about the Jeep. The
We
Jeep's
know.
great. But I shopped around. I called up I'd say at least 5 different dealerships, maybe more. Got in contact with them about not just like features, but the price tag and what they can get me for deals and if they're willing to they'll pay for cover certain things like taxes and title fees and doc fees and all that. So shopping around, was able to get the best deal, get the car I wanted. It's good for that. Shopping around, I always recommend for houses as well or refinances. I would obviously recommend shopping around, see what rates you can get with different institutions. Maybe somebody else is able to get you a better rate, 1 week versus another. So
yeah, it's funny because I think some people will feel odd about like, oh, I don't want to call 5 different dealerships and try to barter and go into all that stuff. But if you think about it, if you're going to go buy something online right now, you're going to check online and see how much it costs in a bunch of different places.
Right,
you're essentially doing it. Yeah, you just don't have to talk to people. The people that you're going to talk to understand what you're doing and this is the world they live in. So don't feel bad about doing that. It's a good thing. You need to shop it around and make sure you're getting the right deal. Abrin would have kicked himself if he ended up paying, over what he needed to on the Jeep, and then I bought one cheaper for him from him.
Yeah, and it could be anything, like you're doing tree work. Call a couple tree guys. You're getting a back deck. Call a couple guys to do the back deck. Don't do it yourself, Tyler. You're gonna break your back again.
Don't tell my wife. But we do that with clients, right? If someone needs something like long-term care insurance, Abrin and I don't hold insurance licensing, so we can't sell them anything. But when we do it, we at least are looking at 3 or more companies that are offering, long-term care insurance and going through the pros and cons and the prices and all that stuff.
That's what's going on with investments too. It's like, we need to go out there and buy an individual stock. We're going to get the best price for our clients. So, we're shopping around for the best price that people are willing to sell it for at that point in time.
Applying that logic to everything can make a big difference, I think.
It's what makes the markets move, man. It is.
Move on to the next one.
All right, number 10. We're going to wrap this up. Buying wholesale / meal prep, things of that nature. So obviously, you could go to Sam's Club, and I love
Costco,
one of the other big ones.
Yeah.
I love joking around about stuff like that because it's like I had one of my friends text me once while I was at a Costco, and he's like, "Can you pick me up a Gatorade?" He's like, "No, I can't, but I can get you a 34-pack." Like
Gatorade for the next 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a great way that you can actually save some money. Generally when you buy something wholesale, you're going to get it at a cheaper price point.
Yep.
Kind of leads into meal prep and kind of going back to avoiding the daily latte. If you got if you get the wholesale coffee and you're making it at the house, you're obviously going to do it at a much cheaper price point than having somebody else make it for you. But it's another great way you can save
like
money.
50 times cheaper if you had someone else do it for you. Yeah.
If you are in a habit of eating out breakfast or something like that, maybe you make some breakfast burritos at home and you freeze them and you got breakfast burritos for a month. That's a great way that you can, great little trick that you can save some money and have really good food still.
Yeah.
And learn to cook.
Yeah. It's understanding and accepting the concept of not knowing the cost of something today, but the value of it over the long term. Right. If you go to Sam's and buy the 34 pack of Gatorade, it is going to be more expensive than if you bought the single Gatorade today. Right. But if you're going to drink 34 Gatorades in the next, if you're Abrin, the next 2 weeks, you might as well spend the upfront money to get the 34 pack altogether and save the money over the long term. Right. So just being able to see the value of making those decisions, I think is important. And the meal prep, hopefully you're a better cook than Abrin, but if you can cook, that's a valuable skill. Taking a little bit of time on a Sunday and getting your week ready can end up saving you a bunch. And it saves you from that dreaded, I'm hungry, it's noon at work, let's just go out and grab a bite, right? Markups at restaurants are really high. Obviously, you're going to spend a ton of money doing that. You do that a few times a week, you add that onto the latte. All of a sudden you're spending, $5,000-6,000 more dollars a year than you were planning on. So, meal prep, looking ahead, just knowing the value of, all right, it might be a little more expensive today in this moment, but it's going to save me a lot of money over the long run.
That's another little good trick too. When you look at the per unit price at the grocery store, they have that at Costco too, or one of the wholesale places. But yeah, if you look at the per unit price, that's where you can see say you're shopping for goat cheese and you're like, oh wow, this is all natural, like from the deep hills of Vermont, and then you got your regular store brand. And then you're looking at the prices and you're like, okay, well obviously I expected this one to be greater, but this unit is bigger, right? But you can really compare it down to unit size with those little stickers that are on there and be like, oh wow, I'm paying like $4 an ounce versus $2 an ounce, and that's one way you can compare and shop around too. So
little trick that my mother taught me. It just brought me back to my childhood of going through the grocery store.
This isn't a psychiatry podcast, Tyler. We're not dealing with the childhood issues at this point.
I can't shop without looking at the units. All right. Well, that's the 10 tips and tricks that we have for you guys. Like I said, if we didn't talk about something and you want us to, please put something in the comments, email us some questions. We want to do some question and answer podcasts, maybe some live question and answer podcasts if compliance allows it. We're going to look into that. Share with your friends. Check us out on any podcatcher.
The foregoing content reflects the opinions of Penobscot Financial Advisors and is subject to change at any time without notice. Content provided herein is for informational purposes only and should not be used or construed as investment advice or a recommendation regarding the purchase or sale of any security. There is no guarantee that the statements, opinions, or forecasts provided herein will prove to be correct. Thank you.